Good morning and welcome to WGN-TV Political Report. I'm Paul Lisnick. We begin this morning with an issue that's affecting consumers in Chicago and across the nation. You've likely heard the word a lot this week, inflation. It's happening at the grocery store, at the gas pump, and everywhere. Prices have hit a 40-year high, with recent reports showing a 7% hike over the last 12 months. A new Quinnipiac poll shows 54% of Americans think the economy is only getting worse. While Democrats are blaming the pandemic, Republicans are pointing the finger right back at them. Still, some, like Senator Dick Durbin, acknowledge the Federal Reserve could have moved faster.
The economists were facing a situation we'd never had before. I mean, closing down the American economy last year was dramatic. There's a lot of upheaval and change, and I don't know that the best economists saw it coming.
Now, the Federal Reserve is expected to raise interest rates in the coming months. Some economists expect supply and labor shortages to ease up mid-year. I spoke with former chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors and University of Chicago professor Austan Goolsbee about that and much more. And Professor Goolsbee, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. We're in such tough economic times. I want to ask you, a recent AP Nork Center for Public Affairs research finds that COVID is a key issue, but it's being taken over by the economy and people's minds. And I'm wondering, can you really separate the inflation and economic status from the impact of the pandemic?
That's the perfect question. That's the perfect thing. I don't think you can. I mean, I've been saying from the beginning that this isn't a recession. We had a big downturn, but it really wasn't a recession. It looks nothing like a normal business cycle because it's been driven by the pandemic. The pandemic is 100% the boss here. And when you see the disease surge, you see spending go down, you see the supply chain problems that have led to a lot of inflation. All of that stuff comes back. And when we get control of the virus, you know, even for a limited time, you see that the money is there. It's not like a normal recession, but it winds up, people want to go back out. They want to go back to Disneyland and go to restaurants and that sort of thing. So I don't think you can separate it, no.
Obviously, this is the worst period of inflation in 40 years that we are experiencing. It's going to become a political issue, already has, as we move forward in this election year. So my question is, will candidates be right, certainly on the Republican side, to pin the 40-year inflation levels on the Biden administration? Or is that not a fair thing to do, meaning we would be here no matter who the president was?
Yeah, I don't think it's particularly fair because if you look at Europe, 2 days ago, they announced they got the highest inflation in the history of since the euro's created. Germany, highest inflation in 30 years. China, highest inflation in almost 30 years. So there is definitely some component that is worldwide supply chain. And my basic read of what's happening is we had this bizarre shift. Normally, what we spend most of our money on is services. And in a pandemic, you can't spend money on services. There are a bunch of services that are shut down or you're afraid to go spend money on. So we have spent the money on physical goods. And if you have a massive increase, everybody wants to go buy cars, whatever, physical products all at the same time, the supply chain would not be able to deal with that. If it was just in the United States, and it's not just in the United States, all the other countries are rushing to go buy a bunch of stuff. Physical goods at the same time. So I think that's mostly what's happening. Now, there's still an argument among the economists about did the various rescue plans, first under Trump and then under Biden, where they put a lot of money into the economy and prevented some really horrible downward outcomes, were they too big? And did that contribute to inflation? Maybe it did. I mean, we're still debating that. But it's also important to realize that phases out. You know, the tyranny of the accounting is all that matters is what's the incremental increase. And so we had a big increase for 1 year, but now as you go into 2022, it's not going to increase again. So that actually flips around and becomes a big headwind.
So you talked about goods, and as you know, consumer prices have gone up 7% in the last 12 months. Democrats like to say people are making more money these days and, you know, taking a look at wages. But isn't it true that with the price of goods, people are actually getting less money because they can't buy as much, even though they're making more?
Yes and no. I mean, that's a way of saying if wages go up less than prices, then your real income, as economists call it, actually went down. Prices on average went up faster than wages, but you got to remember the average family got about a $3,500 tax cut in that year too. So I think overall after-tax income was up. It's just when you look at the polls, in a way, there's a puzzle because the job market is about as strong as it's ever been. Wages are up strongly. The downside is inflation, but economic growth is very high. You would think people would feel better about the economy, but they clearly don't. And in the polls, they're saying they're upset about the economy. They think the economy's bad. I think of some component of that is it's relative to what we expected or what we wanted. And at the beginning of 2021, first 3-4 months, it looked like we were off to the races and the disease was done. And it's like, now we can go back to our lives. And it did not play out that way. And so you can see why people be disappointed. And you can see why things like now the decline in consumer spending would be that much more aggravating to people.
So let me take you where the economy and politics meet, trying to keep your appropriate hat on. But, the Biden administration has said, yeah, the reason that these polls show people are more concerned about the economy than they are COVID is because we've done a great job in handling COVID. Is that an argument as an economist you would encourage the administration to make when people are concerned about the economy?
Maybe, but let's make sure we got control of COVID. I mean, there are aspects that they've done well and improved our response, but the variants have gotten exponentially more contagious. And that let's declare victory before victory has been won. That's a big mistake. I don't know what would be persuasive. I mean, you don't want to ask message advice from a guy with an economics PhD. you're going to have
I said it's
message.
It's where those places.
But it is true that as goes the virus, so goes the economy.
Oh, just about a minute left, but I want to ask you, look, unemployment rates at record lows. That's good for Democrats. But of course, there's hiring signs everywhere and people are quitting their jobs. Can you, as an economist, explain that phenomenon?
Well, the quitting of the job's a little misleading because most of the people quitting are quitting to go to a higher paying job. They're not quitting to become unemployed. I do think it's a very strong job market, but there are a bunch of people that dropped out of the labor force, whether because they got COVID, they're taking care of someone with COVID, or they don't want to catch COVID. I think that's been a major issue for a lot of industries, a lot of occupations, in making people reluctant to take jobs. But we had an amazing year of job growth last year, and I'm hoping we get another one this year.
Just finally, 30 seconds. Fed says they're going to raise rates a few times in this coming year. For people who have money, it's a good thing for their investments. People who don't have money, that may be tough. Is it overall a good thing to raise rates?
I think the Fed's got to think about this inflation that I've been surprised. Many people have been surprised that the inflation has lasted as long as it has. So the Fed's got to do that. But the Fed is in a little bit of a pickle because in a normal recession, they cut the interest rate or raise the interest rate to try to influence the economy on durable goods purchases, right, housing, et cetera. This time it went the totally opposite way. So it was a downturn, but housing demand went up and people tried to buy more cars and more TVs. So when they raised the interest rate, the thing that caused the recession was people not going to the dentist. Yeah. And that's not really responsive to the interest rate. So I think the Fed is in a little bit of a tough spot here.
We'll see how that plays out and talk to you again. Professor Austan Goolsbee, thank you so much for your time.
Great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Have a great Sunday. Bye-bye.